Okay, so this is grade 5 English lesson 6, Changing Perspective. What are we learning today? We are learning what point of view means, how the point of view shapes meaning, seeing the same event through different perspectives, how stories change based on the point of view. What should you do? You should take notes, not everything, but the things that you find important and should remember, and you should discuss with the people next to you when asked. What is point of view? Point of view is who's telling the story and how they see the events. If it the same moment told by different storytellers can mean different versions of the same story. For example, let's say there's two people that were involved in an argument. Each person would want to make themselves sound better, so they would, when retelling the story of their argument, they would make themselves sound better. Each side would tell a slightly different story that is more biased towards themselves and more downgrading of the opposing side. Why does point of view matter? Different people notice different things. People have different feelings about situations depending on how they perceive them. Based on those feelings, people have different thoughts. People have different objectives. This changes how they tell the story. Types of point of view. In first person point of view, when the narrator is when the that's when the narrator is inside the story and they're telling it using words like I, me, and my, as if they are the ones experiencing everything. They make it sound like you're seeing the story through their eyes. For example, if I'm telling a story, I'll say, I went to the park. At the park, I played with my friends. Those sentences use the words I and my. That means it is first person point of view. If it ever uses these three words I, me, and my, that is your signal that it is first person point of view, and that is how you identify it. Second person point of view is used very rarely. This is when the narrator talks directly to the reader using the word you. It makes the story feel like you are the one inside the story, experiencing what happens. This is very rarely used, so you might not have seen it before, but it's when there's a story that's like, you pick up, you picked up the bucket. You took the bucket to this place. Things like that. Or it will be like, you went and got ice cream. You dropped your ice cream. Or something like, you went to the park. You played with your friends at the park. Whenever it's saying you or your and is making it sound like you, who is the reader, is experiencing the story, that means it's second person point of view. Third person is when the narrator is outside the story and they are telling it using words like he, she, or they. The narrator describes what happens to the characters instead of being one of them, meaning she got ice cream, or she picked up the bucket, or she went to the store. Other examples could be he also went to the park and they got ice cream together. Now, to review them all, I'll tell you examples of each one. First person, I will tell you the same sentence about someone going to the park. Okay, so first person would be I went to the park. I played with my friends. That would make it sound like I am saying the story, right? It means I was in the story. In second person point of view, I would say, you went to the park. You played with your friends. That means I, the narrator, I'm saying it as if you are the one who experienced it, you as in the reader. In third person point of view, the same sentence would be she went to the park, she played with her friends. It could also be he went to the park, he played with their friends. It could also be they went to the park and they played with their friends. It can be any of these, but as long as it is describing the story as an outside narrator and not as a character who's in the story, that's how you know that it is third person. Now that we have reviewed the types of point of view, let's go to the next topic. Point of view examples. Oh, this is the same. Just like the examples of the park, I have these other examples. Notice the same situations is worded differently when different points of view are used. In first person, it would be I walked into the classroom and felt nervous about the test. We know this is in first person because it uses the word I. Second person, you walk into the classroom and feel nervous about the test. Since it uses the word you, that means it is second person. In third person, it says, she walked into the classroom and felt nervous about the test. That means that I'm an outside narrator. I'm not in the story. I'm describing someone that is in the story. And that someone is she. If it uses the word she, he, or they, then it is third person. Okay, next. What changes when point of view changes? Thoughts are revealed, feelings are described, and what the narrator notices first, how they describe other people, and what they focus on, what they leave out. Based on the different people telling the story, it can reveal different thoughts. For example, if you take the instance of two people in an argument, different if we're talking about person 1, then their thoughts and feelings about the argument will be different from person 2 because they both have different opinions and that is why the argument is happening, right? So their thoughts and feelings will be different, and in point of view, if it changes, the story is told in different ways. Meaning, let's say there was a situation, there is one people who fell down, and there is one person that saw the other person fall down. The person that fell down would probably notice things like the texture of the ground, or they would feel shocked that they fell down. The person that watched them fall down would notice different things like their facial expressions, let's say where they were when they fell down, things like that. How they describe other people is based on their impression of the other person. What they focus on and what they leave out is also important because let's say there is one person in an argument. If they did something wrong, they might leave that out to make themselves sound better. But if the other person did something wrong, they would focus on that so that they would make themselves sound better that way. Let's look at this example. Take this instance. Two students, John and Peter, were in a race. John won first place, and Peter got last place after tripping. Their thoughts and feelings of the race would be different from each other, which is how a retelling or claim about the situation can be different based on how someone was involved and their perspective. John would say something like, that was amazing. It was so easy, and I am so happy. He says this because he is the winner, right? He is happy that he won, and he enjoyed the race because of that. He thought it was easy. But Peter, because he fell down, he would say something like, the race was horrible. There were so many places to trip, and it was so unfair. He's saying this because he lost the race, right? His emotions are unhappy, and if the story is told from his point of view, He would make the race sound bad. He would make the race sound unfair because he lost, right? It's the same event, one race, and it's the same outcome. John wins and Peter loses, but they have different thoughts about it because John is happy about the race and thinks it's easy, but Peter is mad about the race and thinks it's unfair. So, different thoughts can change the stories in different ways based on who is telling the story. Feelings change stories. Let's say someone dropped their lunch tray in the cafeteria full of people. The person who dropped it would be embarrassed. Their friends might be worried and try to help. A stranger who happened to watch may find it funny. Let's say you saw someone fall, right? You would watch them and you would have different feelings, right? You'd be curious. You might find it funny as long as the person didn't get hurt. But if you were their friend, you would be concerned and you would try to help them up, right? But if you were the person who fell, if you fall in front of a lot of people, you would be embarrassed and you would be, let's say, you would feel hurt, right? So you'd be a little angry, right? If you fell down. So let's say the person who dropped it is telling the story. They would focus on how they felt embarrassed. They would focus on their tone of voice would sound angry or embarrassed, right? But if it's from the friend's point of view, the friend would talk about how they were worried and how they were concerned that their friend fell down. If it was a stranger, they would notice how surprising it was that they fell down. They would notice the facial expressions of the person who dropped their lunch tray. So the stranger who watched it would tell the story in their point of view by saying that they were surprised or they were curious about what happened. What characters notice is also very important because based on someone's emotions, personality, and position in a situation, they may notice different things. Someone who is angry will notice completely different things than someone who is calm. A few examples could be, let's say the narrator is negative. They are always thinking of the problems and therefore they notice the issues with people and situations around them. They focus more on the bad things and that's why they notice the bad things more. So when they're speaking, when they're telling their side of the story through their perspective, they would tell you about the issues with the people and situations that they noticed around them, and they would be more focused on those. Let's say the narrator is an optimistic person, they're happy, they notice the positives in the situation first, rather than the negatives. Let's say, hmm, let's see, what's a good example? Have you heard the expression, if life gives you lemons, make lemonades? It means you make the best out of whatever situation you come across, right? That's how an optimistic narrator would think. Let's say in a story there was a problem. If the narrator was optimistic, they would think of the good sides of it and try to counter the bad sides with the good things that happened. They would notice the fun parts and they would expand their story further, focusing on the good parts rather than the bad, which is in contrast to the negative narrator. Let's say the narrator is cautious, maybe even paranoid. They would notice the potential dangers. They would be looking around them, they would always be aware. They would try to find the problems and they would be cautious of them, right? They would be wary. So, what characters notice would deeply affect how they tell their story. Because what they notice is what they will fixate on when they tell their story. They will focus more and give more details on the things that they notice more. How characters describe people. We describe people differently depending on how we feel about them what we want from them, whether we trust them, past interactions with them, what they say to us, and what they have done for or against us. Let's think about how differently you would describe a person you like and are friends with compared to how you would describe someone that you are annoyed with. Let's say that you are describing your friend. You like your friend, right? So you would describe them as a good person, you would describe their good qualities. However, if you describe someone that you are annoyed with, you would fixate more on their bad qualities because you want to make them sound bad because you're annoyed with them, right? And these things are based off of how you feel about them is based off of what you want from them, like whether you want something from them if they have something that you need. Whether you trust them is also based on your past interactions with us and what they have said to you. If they have done good things to you, then you would like them and you would be friends with them, right? If they have done bad things against you, you would be annoyed with them, right? And based on that, you will tell the story in a way that will either support them and make them sound good or go against them because you don't like them as much or you are annoyed with them, right? So if a character likes someone, they will describe them in a good way, and if a character dislikes someone, they will describe them in a bad way. So how characters describe people can also completely change the story that they are telling. What characters focus on or leave out is also important because a narrator who is worried or nervous will describe the smaller details. A narrator who's excited might rush through events quickly. People leave out details that make them look bad, and they include details that make them look good. Let's say you are telling a story, and you are in that story. Will you tell things about yourself in the story that will make you look bad? Like, will you focus on the things that you did wrong? Or will you focus and expand on the things that you did good? The things you did good, right? Because you want to make yourself sound better. You don't want people to think of you in a bad way. Same with all narrators. The characters in a story will want to make themselves sound good. Therefore, they will include the details that they look good in, and they will leave out the ones that make them look bad. Like, let's say they did something wrong, they might slightly mention it, or they might not mention it at all, and that will change a story. That will change how you view them. Let's also focus on the first part, a narrator who is worried or nervous. If you are worried or nervous, you will focus on the smaller things, right? You'll be more cautious, you'll be more aware. And since you notice the smaller things, you will describe the smaller things when you retell your story. But a narrator who is excited, like when you're really happy and excited, you tend to go through things fast, right? That's the same with any narrator of a story. They will rush through the events quickly, and they might accidentally leave out some details. So, what characters focus on or leave out based on what they're feeling in the moment and what makes them look good and bad, that will impact how a story is told and that will impact how the readers perceive the story. Let's say it's the same event but different characters. I will describe one simple event, then we'll walk through how a different characters would tell it. The event is a student trips in the hallway. Like, let's say someone fell, there's different people around, and there's the friends around. There's teachers around too. We'll look at each of the different perspectives. I will give you time to think about each one, and then we will decide all together how different characters would tell it. Event. A student trips in the hallway. We went over that already. The first perspective is from the perspective of the student who tripped. What might they describe about the situation? I'll give you 30 seconds to think about it and discuss with those next to you. So, talk with people next to you, discuss. Imagine if you were the student who tripped, what would you describe about the situation? You can talk for 30 seconds, then we will discuss together. Okay, let's discuss it together. They might describe embarrassment, pain, or frustration. They would describe the floor because since they fell on the floor, they would describe, let's say you fell. You would describe whether it's rough or if it was smooth, like the color of it. When you're telling a story, you would describe all these things about it, right? You'd also describe the noise that it made when you fell. Like let's say you dropped something when you fell. If it made a thud noise, if it made a gentler, softer thud noise, if it made a bang noise, the noise that was made would be described, or the surprise that they felt. If you trip, you'd feel shocked, right? Like you'd feel that feeling in your heart, that surprised, right? So you will describe that in the story that you tell, and that will change the story, right? Let's say it was from the perspective number two of a friend who is watching. What would they describe about the situation? I will give you 30 seconds to think about it and discuss with the people next to you. So talk to the people around you. Imagine that you are the friend watching the person who fell. How would you tell the story? What things would you focus on? 30 seconds. Okay, let's discuss it together. They might focus on concern or surprise, and they'd say something like, I was worried. They'd notice the expression of the student that fell. Since they are not the person that fell, since you can't see your own face, right? It's not like there's a mirror nearby. A bystander or like a friend, they would notice the face of the person who fell and they would be concerned, right? Like, let's say one of your friends fell, you would be worried, right? And you would express that. You would be like, whoa, I didn't expect you to fall, right? So let's say you're retelling the story of them falling. You would mention your concern for them and your surprise and how shocked you were that they just suddenly fell down. So if it's from a perspective of a friend watching, it would be a different story than the friend who fell. The next event is oh, not event. The next perspective is a student who dislikes them. What might they describe about the situation? I will give you 30 seconds to think about it and discuss with those next to you. Talk to the people around you. Discuss what would happen if you saw a student that you don't like. What would you think if they fell? Like what kind of story would you tell? Okay, let's discuss it. They might focus on amusement. Now, if the student that fell didn't get hurt very bad, you'd probably think that it's funny, like even if it's mean. Like, let's say the student tripped, right? And then a student that dislikes them would focus on their amusement, how they thought it was funny. They might exaggerate the way that they fell. Like, they might be like, oh, they fell really hard. Like, they would focus on the details of how the person fell, like, um, how hard they felt, they would exaggerate that, they would focus on that. And they might leave out any part where they felt bad. Because this person that was watching, if they dislike the student that fell, they wouldn't want to show that they felt bad for the person, right? They wouldn't want to display their sympathy, right? That's why they would leave out that part. That would change the story. That would make it sound more extreme. It could make it sound funny, and it could make it sound like the student doesn't really care about them, even if they do, right? Because they're leaving out certain parts. Let's go to the next. The next is the perspective of the teacher who is watching. What might they describe about the situation? I will give you 30 seconds to think about it and discuss with those next to you. Now, if you need help, you can imagine, let's say the student fell. Imagine one of your teachers. What would they say? What would they think? How would they feel when telling the story? You can discuss now. I'll give you a minute. Okay, let's discuss. The teacher might notice safety issues or rules broken and focus more on those. Their priority is different. Their priority is responsibility, order, and safety. If you think about your teachers, they want to make sure that they are keeping you safe and in order, right? That's their responsibility. and they want to give that responsibility to you, right? So when they see the student fall, they would be concerned and they would prioritize safety and rules broken or things like that, right? They would want to focus on the order of the things. They would want to focus on whether you were responsible or not, if you were breaking the rules or not, right? So when they tell the story, they might focus on these aspects because that's their priority, that's their main focus, which is different from all the other characters. So their perspective of the situation would be much different from the rest. Now, out of these different tellings of the stories, which one do you think is correct? Discuss or think for 30 seconds. Like, let's say, out of these, let's go over them again. The first perspective is the student who tripped. The second is the friend watching. The third is the student who dislikes them.
Hello.
And the fourth is the teacher watching. So, which one do you think would be correct? You can discuss that.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes?
Hello. Hello. Mhm.
Hello?
అయిపోయినప్పుడు. Hello.
Yes?
Ma'am, our children are wanted to ask some questions for you.
Okay, what's the question?
Yes, Anish. What is the meaning of characters?
Characters? Oh, the characters are the people involved in the story. Let's say there is a story about. Have you heard the story about the crow? The crow who put the stones in the water to make the water come up so that they can drink it. In this case, the crow would be the character. Let's say there's a character where one student fell and the other student saw them fall, right? The people in the story are the characters.
Okay, madam. Thank you. Again, one question.
Yes?
Ask. Ah, Teacher, what is the meaning of behavior?
What's that? Oh, behavior?
Yes.
It's the way someone acts.
Okay. Can you explain with example?
Oh, example, okay. Let's say
Mm.
someone is being angry and they're throwing things around because they're angry. Their behavior would be bad. Let's say there is someone that is very calm and doing their work and being kind to other people. That means their behavior is good and kind-hearted.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Again, okay, ask. Teacher, what is the introduction? Interaction. Interaction.
Interaction?
Interaction.
Oh, interaction is when two characters are in a situation together. For example, if you were asking your friend for a pencil, that is an interaction. If you are high-fiving your friend, that is an interaction.
Okay. Okay, thank you, madam. Our children will be more enjoyed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, you can discuss for 30 seconds. Which one of these people do you think is right? Is it the person who fell? Is it the friend watching? Is it the person who dislikes them? Or is it the teacher? Who do you think is correct? Who do you think is telling the true story? There is no single true version. There is only each character's interpretation of what happened in the situation. Interpretation means it's their own way of telling what happened in the situation. This is what makes point of view powerful. Let's say that one person is telling one version of the story. Another person that was there, they would tell a similar version of the story, but there would be different components, different focuses to it. That means that they're all correct. However, they all just have different focuses, different opinions, and emotions in the retelling of the story. I'm going to show you how a story changes when we retell the exact same moment from three different characters. You should write notes or discuss with the people next to you comparing these versions. So I will show you a story, right? And I will show you what three different people said about the same thing that happened. And you can talk to your classmates or write down your notes on what you observe about these stories and what do you think is different about them. First, I will tell you the situation. There are three students. They're working on a group project assignment, right? Let's say their teacher told them to do an assignment. Their teacher told them to do something, and they all worked on it together. Their project went wrong, meaning that they did it incorrectly, and they're all sad, they're all upset. Let's imagine the moment through their three perspectives. Their characters are Sam. Sam is the responsible student. He is the student that always gets his work done on time. Peter is the distracted student, meaning he is always lazy and doesn't get his work done on time. And Jerry is the shy student. He is afraid to speak. Let's go to Sam's point of view. He is the first point of view. The responsible student. Discuss for 1 minute. What do you think the emotions, thoughts, and focuses of Sam are? I will read it to you, then I will give you time to discuss. This is what Sam said about the situation. He says, I kept asking everyone to focus, but no one was listening. I tried to give ideas, but people talked over me. They kept interrupting me. I felt like I was doing everything by myself, and I was angry that we weren't getting our work done. Now take 1 minute and discuss what do you think the thoughts, emotions, and focuses of Sam are.
Hello, ma'am. Are you there? Hello?
Yes.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Ah, ma'am.
I'm here.
Our children. What are the types of points of view? I didn't understand.
Oh, okay. I'll help you. So
Okay,
let's
ma'am.
say,
Okay, ma'am.
okay, I will show you.
Okay.
First person point of view is when the narrator inside the story is using words like I, me, and my. For example, let's say you are telling a story, right? You will say, I went to the park.
Yes.
If you are telling the story of someone else, if you are saying to your friend, you will say, you went to the park. You played with your
Yeah.
friends. You'll tell that to your friend, right?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am.
Then
Okay, ma'am.
Then the third point of view, if you're talking about someone else, you'll say he went to the park, or you'll say she went to the park. That is the third one.
Ooh.
So
Ooh. Yeah.
in the first one you will use I, in the second one you will use you, and in the third one you will use he, she, or they. I went to the park is the first one. You went to the park is the second one, and he went to the park is the third one.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Like grammar and be you like that. Okay. Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
No problem. Okay, let's go to this one. He said that, okay, now you can take 1 minute to discuss. Let's find out what Sam thinks, what he feels, and what he is focusing on.
Ma'am, again one question for you. Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am.
Okay, hello. What is the
What
question?
is the minerals and vitamins? Again, ask. Ma'am, what is the minerals and vitamins?
What did you say?
Ma'am, what is the meaning of minerals and vitamins? They are
Oh,
asking
minerals and
about
vitamins?
food, healthy food, healthy food.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Minerals. Okay, 1 second. Vitamins are something that they make you there's different types of vitamins like vitamin A. You eat carrots, right? Have you ever eaten
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
carrots? The carrot has vitamin A, meaning it will improve your eyesight. If you have eaten oranges have vitamin C, so they will help you with other things. Like there's vitamins A, B, C, D, there's different letters of vitamins, and each one of them will help you in different parts of your body to keep them healthy. And minerals have different vitamins in them.
Okay. What is the meaning? You ask scientific name of vitamin A, ma'am.
Um, let's see. 1 second. I think it was scientific name of vitamin A.
Yes, ma'am.
A. It's called retinol.
Retinol. Retinol.
Yeah,
Okay, ma'am. It is belongs to in which fruits or vegetables like
it
carrot?
belongs. Yeah, carrots. Any vegetable that is either orange, red, or light yellow in color. For example, uh those those different
Oh,
plants have carotenoids in them. They're called carotenoids
okay.
and they have
Uh,
vitamin A.
okay. It is helpful for eyes only. Eyes or
Not
hairs.
just not just eyes, there's different based on the type of vitamin there will be different things that they are good for. And one of them is eyes for vitamin A. For I think it's E that is good for hair. I don't remember. I'll have to double check on that. But yeah, each one of them does different things for you, and vitamin A is very
Yeah.
best for eyes.
Okay, madam. Once you inform to our childrens, vitamin A is very good for us. So you take milk like that only. You say, ma'am.
Hmm? Oh,
Yeah, vitamin A profits and losses.
vitamin A has no losses, but if you have, let's say you don't have enough, let's say you have too little, then in extreme cases, people have gone blind or their eyesight has gotten worse. That's why to protect your eyesight, you need to eat vitamin A. Also, have you heard of
Yeah,
cancer?
madam. Yeah, madam. But one thing, disease, night blindness for vitamin A loss.
What?
Night blindness.
Night blindness. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it might get harder to see in the evening, and in the darker
Yeah.
times, it will get harder to see.
Yes, yes. It's more in milk, right?
Milk. Let's see. More in fruits and vegetables, but yeah, it can be in milk too, I think.
Fruits and vegetables and also milk. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, madam. You want to say thank you? Thank you, madam. Wait, wait, wait. Again, one question.
Yes.
You ask.
Ma'am, what is the uses of taking healthy food? Examples.
Uh, Healthy food. For example, let's go with vitamin A example again. Let's say you're eating vegetables and fruits. If you eat them regularly, then especially the ones that contain the pigment called carotenoid, they can help you prevent cancer, they can help you prevent long-term diseases. They will improve things like your sight, your hearing, your sense of smell. They can improve your strength in your bones. That's what milk is good for. Milk is good for the strength in your bones. Milk will help you grow taller. If you eat healthy fruits and vegetables, then your hair will grow better, and your skin will get better. And the ones that contain the pigment called carotenoids, they will help you prevent cancer. Cancer is a long-term disease that can sometimes end in death. Cancer will make your life a lot harder. So to prevent cancer, you have to eat fruits and vegetables, and that will make your life a lot better. That will improve your health, and that will improve your mind as well. Because if your mind gets enough nutrients, it can work better.
Okay.
Yeah, madam. Thank you. Our children were very enjoyed a lot.
That's good.
Yeah, madam. For giving more, and more information for you. Thank you, ma'am.
No problem. I hope they enjoyed.
Yeah. Yes, madam. Very enjoyed.
That's good.
Yeah, ma'am. Okay,
Okay.
ma'am. Bye.
Bye. Okay.
బాయ్ చెప్పేసిన ఎక్కువ కూడా అడగద్దు వీలైతే లేక లేక వచ్చి గిటికన పడుతారు
Okay, let's see. Now let's look through the point of view of Peter, the distracted student. I didn't think the project was a big deal. I wanted everyone to calm down. The person in charge, Sam, kept getting angry, and I wished he would calm down. I didn't feel like working yet, and I didn't know why they were making such a huge problem. Point of view 3 is Jerry. He is the shy student. He said, I had ideas, but I didn't want to speak because I thought they would judge me. The loud students, Sam and Peter, kept arguing angrily, and I felt stuck in the middle. I didn't want them to fight over the project, but I didn't know how to help either. So basically, here he felt shy and he didn't want them to fight, but he wasn't able to stop them because he was scared of speaking out. Now let's think about this together. Sam. He sees himself as the hardest worker, and he focuses on fairness and responsibility, meaning he always tries to get his work done on time. He tries to split up the work evenly. He's trying to get the work done, right? He's a focused person. Peter is a calm person, and he's too much relaxed. He doesn't get his work done, and he is the kind of person he will wait the last minute to do his work. He thinks Sam is overreacting. Jerry. He is not lazy or controlling like the other two. He is nervous to speak despite wanting to help and stays quiet. So he wants to stop them from fighting, but he's not lazy and he's not over controlling, but he's too scared to speak out because he's shy and he stay quiet. Overall, Sam is the most responsible student, and that's what Peter thinks. Okay, hold on. Overall, Sam, the most responsible student. Sam thinks Peter is careless. Peter thinks Sam is being too dramatic about the project, and Jerry thinks both Sam and Peter are overwhelming. But who is correct? None of them are lying, and one is telling the story from their own point of view, so there is no single story that is true or false. They all think different things and they will all tell different stories, but none of them are lying. They're all correct. They just have different feelings, they have different focuses, and they have different personalities, right? So that's why they're all telling the truth just the way that they see it. Just like how you might have one opinion, but your friend might have a different opinion. So when you both speak about a certain situation, you might say different things about it, right? Because you're not the same person. You have different thoughts, you have different feelings. So different points of view will cause things like that to happen, and they can change up stories completely. Final notes, I will give you 5 minutes to write these down. Okay, first of all, point of view shapes how a story is told. Characters notice different things. Characters have different emotions and motivations. Changing the narrator changes the meaning of the story. Good readers and writers examine how perspective affects storytelling. To learn any story fully, learn to see it through more than one character's point of view. And this is the most important part. Different points of view equals different sides of the truth. I will give you 5 minutes to write this down. Have you finished taking the notes? Okay. Um, we'll go to the next slide. This is your homework or extra practice. You can do this to practice the things that you have learned. Create a story of your own, like make up a story, and make the story have a small argument, misunderstanding, or any situation with at least three characters. Tell the story according to the different point of view of at least three characters, and make it clear how each one feels and thinks about the situation. So basically, create a story and make sure that there's at least three characters and write the story in three different ways from each character's point of view. That is the end of today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed. Have a nice rest of your